Hi, Stacey. How are you today?
Good, Laura, thank you.
Good. So today what we're going to do is review some of the things that brought you to the office last time and then go through our game plan.
Great.
Okay. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Super. First, I will review that you've talked about having digestive issues, that you're overweight and you would like to lose 50 pounds.
Yes.
You'd like to increase your stamina, improve your fitness, and also improve your strength. Also, that you've had some sleep disturbances and some joint pain. So we're going to take that package and we're going to start with our digestion. I've created some of these handouts for you, so for you to take with you. This is a healthy foods handout, and in this handout it tells you how to choose foods and to choose local whenever possible, choose grass-fed over other meats, organic poultry, wild-caught fish that's low in mercury, like mackerel or sardines, salmon. Choose non-GMO when possible and organic when possible. And here's also a Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. And what this means is that if you wanted to save money, or if you wanted to even know which ones hold more toxins or which ones we don't have to worry so much about, these Dirty Dozen mean that they tend to hold pesticides and chemicals that have been used during the processing, and we want to avoid those. And we do want to eat things that are clean. So you can have these organically, and these you don't have to worry so much about.
Great.
Also for your digestion, I wanted to encourage you to continue your gluten-free diet.
Yes.
And here I have, even though you've already started, some quick start tips that tell you which foods may have or which foods may not have the gluten. So this will help support your dietary choices. Also, it's good to continue your dairy-free, because dairy contains large molecules that are difficult to digest, and we want to be very easy with your digestive system and eat foods that are easy to process.
Yes.
So here is a menu plan handout, and this goes into portion sizes. So for your proteins, you want to eyeball one serving size as the palm of your hand. So just the palm, what fits into the palm of your hand like this.
Sure.
And you want the protein to be no bigger than a deck of cards and no thicker than a deck of cards. So the size of the palm and no thicker than a deck of cards. For carbohydrates, what we will use are some whole grains, such as quinoa, gluten-free oats, so maybe some brown rice, and we're going to have more of balancing it with other foods, and we're going to use it in portion sizes of a 1/4 cup instead of a 1/2 cup, and that will help your thyroid and your metabolism get to where they need to go a little bit more quickly.
1/4 cup dry or cooked?
Cooked.
Cooked, okay. So I definitely have a room for improvement there. So
Okay.
I've been doing a 1/2 cup, I would say.
Right. Exactly.
As a general.
And not that that's a
portion
bad
size.
thing, and
Yeah.
we can go back to
Or
a 1/2
scale it
cup.
down.
Exactly, but I think initially it might be helpful to scale it down a little bit. Also, what we want to do is to avoid goitrogens. This would be mostly from the brassica family, and that would be our broccolis, our cauliflowers, our cabbages, and sometimes lentils, and I've heard coffee is actually on this list too. So
Not fair.
the reason it's not fair, but the reason why it's so important is because these goitrogens impair or affect or detriment our thyroid, and so we don't want to slow our thyroid down any further. So to support that, but there's plenty of other things that we can eat, and we're going to take a look at those as well. Again, I told you the last time and this time as well just how important it is to drink enough function well. Avoid alcohol, coffee, and caffeine. And caffeine can also be in black teas, chocolate, and baked goods. Here's our sample menu. This is a whole day of a sample menu. So we can start our breakfast off with some overnight oats, and here's a quick recipe for you. You can make them the night before, put it in the refrigerator, and wake up and have breakfast. Your breakfast will be ready. The green smoothie is a combination of vegetables and hydration that makes a really lovely snack. And the reason why I put this here is because it's so hard to get in enough vegetables throughout the day, and our hydration as well. So I'm fine if you will eat the vegetables and it works out well that way for you. But if it doesn't and you're on the go and it's kind of awkward to eat vegetables in the car, you can have your green smoothie in the car and get your vegetables in.
I love it.
And for lunch, again, we're balancing everything off, some salmon, wild rice, and arugula. And I've included an easy red pepper soup that I really love. And I use a vegetarian vegetable broth and seasoning base that I think you're going to be really happy with. It adds a real nice punch of flavor. And for dinner, the same thing. We'll have our protein, we'll have some buckwheat groats, some steamed green beans, and a garden salad. And then later on, a snack, the overnight chocolate chia pudding. If you make that the night before or in the morning, it would be ready for you. And it's really delicious. It's really creamy, and it has some sweetness to it, and it feels very full. You know, you get very full from it. And these handouts I'll get to in just one moment.
Okay.
So I also took a look at your lab values, and I didn't know if taking 2,000 international units of vitamin D that you've been taking is enough for you. Your doctor tested the 25 hydroxy vitamin D, and that's what's produced in the liver. And you might also ask him to test the 125 hydroxy, which is made in the kidney. And the kidney is where the active form is at, and that's why it might be really important to know. And you might notice that your levels of the 25 hydroxy that your doctor tested for might be normal, but your 125 might not be normal. And this would show how your body's actually utilizing the vitamin D, and it would give us a lot more information. So I think that would be helpful to know how your body's processing it and if you're really getting enough. The other thing on your lab values I've noticed was your elevated cholesterol. And the question that comes to mind would be, what is your homocysteine value? And homocysteine is produced in the body, and it creates a lot of damage to our vasculature. And when it's elevated, it could also mean that you are deficient in vitamins B9 and 12. I'm sorry, B6, B9, B12. And so there's two factors that are going on: the deficiency of the vitamin Bs, and also why is your body producing so much cholesterol. So the homocysteine would be creating damage to your inner vasculature, and your elevated cholesterol might be because it needs to repair the vasculature. So it's using the cholesterol to repair the damage. An analogy that was provided to me was to be thinking of it as potholes in a street, and that would be created, let's say, by the homocysteine, and that the cholesterol would be the tar that would be repairing the potholes. And so if this is going on with you, it would explain why your cholesterol is so high and why your body feels it needs to produce such high levels of cholesterol. And also with your LDL value, it would be good to know next time we have the blood values checked, and you're due to have new labs because the other ones were a little bit outdated. So it would be interesting to ask the doctor if he could order LDL to know whether it's oxidized or not oxidized. And basically, if you have a high level of LDL, but a percentage of their percentage, most of it is the oxidized form, then it's not as bad as if it weren't oxidized. So it would give us a better indication where you're at. And the same things with the sedimentation rate or the CRP values. There are other values that we use to monitor your health, your vascular health.
Thank you for explaining it that way. It really helped me to understand, like using the pothole example, that really helped me understand like what it means.
I thought it was well provided to me, so thank you for the feedback on that. I'm glad that it's working. The allergies that you have, we would be curious to know if you also have some elevated arachidonic acid levels. And that has to do with your fatty acids. Arachidonic acid, when there's imbalances in our fatty acids, would then become elevated. And when it becomes elevated, then it sets off a lot of inflammatory responses in our body. And this also could be an imbalance because of not enough antioxidants, such as vitamin C. And when you've mentioned in the intake that you're sensitive to bug bites,
Yes, very.
this could mean that you don't have enough vitamin C on board. And so it seems that with the entire picture and with more information, we would be able to confirm that vitamin C would also be something very important to include.
Great.
So before we get on to the actual action plans that we have set, I wanted to just take a quick review of your supplements. To help your digestion, we will start with a probiotic, and I'll give you the list of everything so that you don't have to worry about remembering.
Great.
So we'll start off with ProbioMax plus DF, and we'll take that with food in the morning. Before we have food, however, we would want to take some David Winter's Bitters compound. And we can start with a couple drops and then work our way up to 5 drops and put it in maybe an ounce or 2 of water and have it 10 minutes before you eat. And that's going to help get our stomach juices, our stomach acid going so that we can better digest our food. Other things that would be good would be Zymogen B Active, and that would be taken with food. You take one daily with food. And Zymogen Excellent C, 1,500 milligrams, 1 cap daily. Now, we could start with a lower amount of vitamin C, and the reason why I didn't is because you had mentioned that you were taking some vitamin C and that you felt that it was enough. So I'd like you to try this product, and I'd like to give you a more potent dose of it and see how you're doing. And we'll start off with 1 cap, and if it's doing well and you're tolerating it well, you'll let me know if you have any upset or diarrhea. And if you don't, then we might even consider bumping it up to 2.
Okay.
The vitamin D complex, Designs for Health, has a great vitamin D complex, and it has vitamins A and K also in with the D. And it's important to have the vitamin K and to have enough vitamin A on board, because what happens is if we supplement with vitamin D and we don't have those, then the vitamin D will drive calcium to your vasculature and it'll calcify there. And so this is when people talk about having calcifications in their vasculature, and this is what that's about. It's not getting into the bone where we want it to go or where we think it's going to go, exactly right where we need it. So the vitamin K is going to drive the calcium into the bone with the vitamin D combination.
Yeah, interesting.
Also, something to consider would be Zymogen's Methyl Protect. So what I'd like is for you to get the homocysteine levels first. And before we were to start this, but I have a feeling that it might be helpful for you to have. So I put it down here so that you know when you get the results, if you do have the elevated homocysteine, that this is where we should get started.
Right.
And also, I wanted to find out more about your multiple vitamin, and right before we started today, you had mentioned that you're taking Kirkland's Signature from Costco.
Yes.
And that is a pretty good brand. It's well-rounded. It has enough of the nutrients that we're looking for.
Right.
And so I think that would be fine to keep with that and taking one of those daily. And so, what I planned out for you for your lifestyle goals, it would be really important to do high intensity interval training.
Okay.
And this is a handout that explains more about it that you can read. And basically it's intense exercise alternating with rest. So it's okay to start, let's say, with 20 seconds intense and then 20 seconds rest, and then just keep changing that cycle, just intense and alternate with rest. 20 seconds on, 20 seconds off for the whole duration of your workout. And by changing the way you're doing this dynamic is going to build muscle better, and it'll help you start achieving this stamina. This is setting you up for success.
Nice.
And we have a few more handouts here. I did come prepared. I wanted you to also start developing a positive self-routine, and I've created a diet mistake eraser handout for you, so that when you feel like you've gotten off track, or before you've gotten off track, it tells you how to fix that so that you don't have to worry about things. And so just be gentle with yourself. If you feel like you are going to need food, or reach for food, or should I be eating this, start slowing down. Start thinking about, why am I craving this? Why am I reaching for this? Why is it going into my mouth? Why am I chewing this? And why am I swallowing this? And am I hungry? Is it true hunger? Am I tired? Am I thirsty? Can I go for a walk and will I still want whatever that is? Or can I do something else? Or can I call a friend? So there's a number of ways that we can start changing how our patterns have been, and substituting them for healthier patterns. And just to keep in mind that it's progress, and if you feel like you've made a mistake, or I shouldn't have had that, I'm bad. People say I'm bad. You're not bad. You just ate something that you probably didn't need, and it's okay. So just move on. Don't beat yourself up. So I usually go by an 80-20 rule, where 80% of the time we're on target, and 20% of the time maybe not. And so none of us are perfect, and so leave some room for not being perfect, for being human. So
I can handle that.
good. Awesome. So for our follow-up visit, I'd like to see you again in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I think what we can do is start off, if it's okay with you, if we were to redo the anthropometrics and assess your body fat composition just like we did last time, and see if you've increased your muscle mass, maybe decreased your fat mass by maybe 1 to 2%. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yes?
Yeah.
That would be wonderful. So in the next session, we can also review your lab work, since you're going for your lab work, and review that again, evaluate more nutrition and health tools that you can use, and then have our next steps for further refining your process.
Great.
Do you have any questions?
I don't think so at this very moment, but sounds great.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you.